Here today to speak on the subject of a community organization that impacts my community. I live in Louisville, Kentucky, and the organization that I chose to speak about is the WHAS TV Crusade for Children. They've been a staple in our city for quite some time, and every year about this time in June, we see people in the streets with giving baskets and buckets to give to the Crusade for Children. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the crusade, though, I would like to talk, or at least present this quote that I thought was relevant. From a 19th century Scottish evangelist by the name of Henry Drummond. He says that happiness consists in giving and in serving others. And so that leads us into the question, who is the Crusade for Children? And Crusade for Children is a nonprofit organization based here in Louisville, Kentucky, who has been raising funds for special needs children since 1954. The WHAS Crusade consists of a board of directors, an endowment board, an advisory panel, ambassadors, and staff members. Local fire departments are also very involved with the Crusade as well. The Crusade alone is able to fund one in 3 children who are in need throughout the region. Crusade for Children also has a mission and vision statement. I thought it'd be relevant to share that with you here today. So their mission statement states, WHAS Crusade for Children improves the futures of children with special needs by inspiring people to give and awarding grants. Their vision statement states to provide the means to give all children with special needs the opportunity to fulfill their potential. So that leads me into the Crusade and how it works, exactly how it was established. So it was established in 1954, like I said, and the Crusade raises money for agencies, schools, and hospitals to better the lives of special needs children. And then there's an independent board that exists within the organization, and they consist of interdenominational ministers. They're known as the advisory panel, and they decide how donations are distributed for the year. So representatives from the agencies, the hospitals, and the schools apply for grants and appear before the panel, the advisory panel, during the grant hearings held each spring. Once the hearings are complete, the advisory panel determines which agencies receive Crusade donations. So since the agency's grant requests far exceed the donations of the Crusade each year, the panel has difficult decisions to make. So not every agency, not every school or hospital is granted or is accepted into the pool to receive donations for their children. So how are the donations collected? Well, in its first 62 years, the Crusade has raised more than $165 million. And thanks to the generous contributions of goods and services, the Crusade is able to return 100% of all donations to organizations that serve special needs children in all 120 Kentucky counties and also 50 southern Indiana counties. Fire departments raise more than 50% of the money each year by staging roadblocks throughout the city. As I mentioned in the introduction, you'll see, drive around the city of Louisville, you'll see fire trucks parked in the median and firemen walking throughout the lanes at stop signs collecting money. And they do that for 2 or 3 weeks. And so another question to ask is, well, how many children have been affected and have benefited from the giving and the donations from people in our community? And the answer is millions. And they don't really exactly know the exact number, but there's been millions upon millions of children impacted and affected by the donations. Another thing to look at is a more recent addition to the crusade, and that's the WHAS Crusade for Children Endowment Fund. And this was voted in by the Board of Directors in 2002, and the Board of Directors voted to create this new endowment in order to fund the future for the crusade, to ensure that 100% of the donations do go to the agencies, do go to the hospitals, and it guarantees that 100% of that does go directly to the agencies. And so the endowment campaign, again, it fully funds the future for the crusade, so the future is bright and stable. So finally, we look at an organization like this that's raised over $165 million to help local kids in our community and throughout the state of Kentucky and southern Indiana, that has been going strong for 62 years. And so that tells us that, that the community makes a difference, and it's the community as a whole that are making the donations. The local fire departments and other services are helping in that effort, but it's the people in our communities that are able to give and donate to make the difference for these children. Like I said, over $165 million raised over 62 years. And this previous year, this most recent year, 2015, the crusade was able to raise just about $5.7 million. And so millions of people will benefit from the generous donations that are given to this wonderful organization.